In ancient traditions, the concept of hidden knowledge was widespread, often concealed in symbols, parables, and sacred texts to protect it from persecution and misunderstanding. This wisdom wasn't meant for everyone, but for those capable of looking beyond literal interpretations. Even the Bible, widely read and analyzed, contains layers of meaning hidden beneath the surface. One such phrase, "Christ is in you," points to a profound spiritual truth, that divinity dwells within. And the temple of God is not a physical location, but an inner space of spiritual awakening. Today, we'll explore an ancient esoteric teaching rooted in multiple spiritual traditions. The process of awakening the pineal gland and activating what is often called Christ consciousness. This teaching goes far beyond metaphor. It centers around a sacred oil referred to in ancient texts as Christos, meaning anointed one, produced deep within the human brain. At the center of the head lies the claustrum, a region of the brain where this sacred oil originates. This oil, or spinal brain fluid, flows from the cerebrum and begins a fascinating journey through the body. It descends the spinal cord, ultimately reaching the sacral plexus, a nerve center located near the base of the spine, above the sacrum. The path of this oil reflects a spiritual allegory, the descent of divine consciousness into the physical body, paralleling the legend of Santa Claus descending the chimney to bring gifts. In this context, the gift is awareness, the awakening of the divine spark within. Every month, a unique event takes place in the body. When the moon returns to the same zodiac sign it occupied at the time of your birth, a spiritual seed or germ is formed in the solar plexus, just above the sacral plexus. This seed is believed to represent a universal creative force, a spark of divine potential within each individual. The oil, having reached the sacral region, awaits this germination. This sacred event occurs 12 times a year, spanning about 2.5 days each cycle. The solar plexus, referred to allegorically as Bethlehem, the birthplace of Christ, becomes the site where this spiritual seed is activated. Once formed, the seed must begin its return journey upward, back to its origin in the midbrain. As it ascends the spinal column, its frequency increases, and the oil becomes more refined and potent. This journey activates vital centers within the brain, the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, often symbolized as the masculine and feminine energies within us. These glands correspond to the Ida and Pingala, the two major energy channels identified in yogic tradition. Pingala, linked to the pineal gland, carries a positive electrical charge and is symbolized by honey. Ida, associated with the pituitary gland, holds a negative magnetic charge and is represented by milk. The union of these two forces creates a balance essential for the awakening of Christ consciousness. The symbolism becomes even richer when viewed through a spiritual lens. The sacred seed, representing the Christ, is said to be born in Bethlehem, the solar plexus, nurtured by the dual energies of Joseph, masculine, and Mary, feminines. As the oil rises, this child of spiritual consciousness develops, supported by the sacred interplay between the brain, spine, and endocrine system. The pineal gland secretes a golden, honey-like substance that contains dimethyltryptamine, DMT, a chemical compound known to induce spiritual visions and altered states of awareness. The pituitary gland releases a milky fluid, contributing to the symbolic reference in ancient texts describing the Promised Land as flowing with milk and honey. This esoteric description aligns with the physical and energetic processes within the human body, linking physiological function with spiritual evolution. Once the seed is activated and begins to rise, it must pass through significant energy centers or chakras, including the heart, throat, and third eye. Along the way, it travels through the vagus nerve, also known as the pneumogastric nerve, a powerful connection between the brainstem and vital organs like the lungs and stomach. This pathway is referred to in ancient texts as the tree of life, connecting body, mind, and spirit. The final part of this sacred ascent occurs as the seed moves upward through the 33 vertebrae of the spinal column, a number symbolically tied to the life of Christ, who is said to have been crucified at the age of 33. When the oil reaches the optic thalamus, an egg-shaped structure deep within the brain, it crosses the vagus nerve in what is metaphorically called the crucifixion, a symbolic death of the ego and material identity. This is not a physical death, but the dissolution of lower consciousness, allowing a transition into a higher, more spiritual state. At this point, the seed rests for 2.5 days, echoing the story of Christ's death and resurrection. This period is symbolic of stillness, where the sacred oil is believed to die or become dormant within the cerebellum, sometimes referred to as the tomb. But on the third day, the oil rises again, this time reaching the pineal gland, known as the third eye, and also the throne of God in ancient metaphysical systems. As the sacred oil connects with the pineal gland, the cerebellum, and the optic thalamus, it activates a profound illumination within. This is the moment of resurrection, a spiritual awakening, where divine consciousness floods the individual, enabling states of enlightenment, inner peace, and union with the divine. In this intricate biological and spiritual process, we see how ancient traditions encoded deep truths about human potential. The path of the sacred oil, the Christos, is both a literal and symbolic journey that reveals how the kingdom of heaven truly lies within. When one conserves this vital essence through practices like meditation, breath control, a healthy diet, and emotional balance, the spiritual seed can rise, blossom, and transform the individual from within. To experience true spiritual transformation, we must begin by recognizing that the sacred energy, the divine essence, resides within us. This life force, often referred to as the Christ seed or sacred oil, originates in the brain and holds the potential to elevate our consciousness beyond the confines of ordinary existence. However, this energy must be preserved, nurtured, and consciously guided upward through the body to realize its highest potential. The journey begins each month with a unique celestial alignment. At the moment the moon enters the zodiac sign that corresponds to your exact birth sign, a powerful process is set in motion. The brain secretes a sacred oil that travels down the spinal cord to the sacral region. This moment is your spiritual window, a gateway to elevate the Christ seed by increasing your vibrational frequency and aligning your physical and energetic systems. This is not a symbolic practice, but a tangible, energetic phenomenon that has been known by the ancients for centuries. The process may sound mysterious, but its steps are clear. Begin by identifying the precise zodiac sign under which you were born and monitor the lunar cycle. When the moon re-enters your natal sign, mark the start of a 72-hour period, 3 sacred days during which your intention and discipline are crucial. These 3 days are not merely symbolic. They represent a sacred incubation period where the vital energy can begin its journey upward if properly supported. During this time, Abstain from sexual activity, especially ejaculation, which is considered the premature release of your vital essence. This fluid is not just biological, but spiritual. It is your life force, your seed, the sacred energy that fuels your inner temple. Retaining this force is essential for regenerating the body and activating higher consciousness. Let this be a conscious choice, not out of repression but reverence for the divine energy within. Support your body and mind by consuming a diet that promotes clarity and vitality. Choose living, fresh foods, vegetables, fruits, natural juices, and avoid processed items, red meat, and artificial additives that can lower your energetic frequency. These choices do more than nourish your physical form. They maintain the purity of the sacred oil and allow it to rise unimpeded. During the 72 hours, immerse yourself in meditation or quiet contemplation. If deep meditation isn't feasible, simply strive to remain peaceful, present, and aware. Let your thoughts be calm and centered. The quality of your inner state directly influences the potency of the energy being elevated. Silence and stillness create the perfect environment for the Christ seed to flourish. Also, pay attention to your dreams during this period. They may carry messages from your higher self or divine guidance for your path ahead. As this energy begins to rise, it activates the pineal gland, located deep within the brain. Known as the seat of the soul, the pineal gland functions like a spiritual antenna, attuning your awareness to higher dimensions of consciousness. This gland, often called the third eye, holds the power to unlock inner vision, clarity, and wisdom beyond the physical senses. When this gland is illuminated, you begin to perceive reality from a spiritual perspective, transcending illusion and awakening to truth. The pineal gland connects to the optic thalamus, which the ancients revered as the light of the world. When the sacred oil reaches this area, it activates dormant regions of the brain and initiates the creation of new, rejuvenating blood. Without this activation, old, stagnant blood continues to circulate, carrying toxic energy and fatigue. But with it, a kind of inner resurrection begins, one that brings vitality, clarity, and deep spiritual renewal. This process is not completed in a single month. Each lunar cycle provides another opportunity to repeat and strengthen the practice. With each passing month, the Christ seed gains energy, vitality, and force. This cumulative process continues until, after a full year of dedication, the energy becomes strong enough to complete the symbolic crucifixion, when the oil reaches the upper chamber of the brain, illuminating the cerebrum. This moment is referred to by many spiritual traditions as the Christing, the internal coronation of divine consciousness. It is not a metaphorical resurrection, but a real transformation that affects your physical, mental, and spiritual state. The Christ seed is within us all, waiting to be activated and elevated. The journey requires courage, discipline, and patience. It's not an overnight change, but a year-long pilgrimage into the sacred temple of your being. With each lunar cycle, with each conscious decision to elevate instead of release, with each effort to quiet the mind and nourish the body, you move closer to the light. If practiced consistently for 12 lunar months, this sacred alchemical process will begin to change your life from the inside out. You'll not only notice physical benefits like more energy and vitality, but also emotional stability, mental clarity, and spiritual insight. This is the sacred science of inner transformation, a path walked by sages, mystics, and prophets for millennia. This journey doesn't require belief in dogma, it calls for experience. You don't have to subscribe to any religion to benefit from this knowledge. It belongs to all of humanity. It's a universal truth encoded in our bodies, in the stars, and in the rhythms of the moon. The only requirement is willingness, the willingness to look within, to honor your own body as a temple, and to dedicate yourself to the process of sacred renewal. We invite you to take this journey seriously. Begin by observing your birth moon phase. Mark the start of your 72-hour window. Prepare your body and mind, and commit to the process for a full year. Allow the sacred oil to rise. Allow your consciousness to expand. Allow the Christ within to awaken. This isn't a mere theory. It's an ancient practice, tested through time, and waiting to be rediscovered in the modern world. Let this be the year you turn inward, the year you nurture the sacred flame within, and the year you truly remember who you are.